Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the rise of Skywalker one glorious minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.fun.
I'm James Hewlett from England.
And I'm Ralph Apel from CueTheMusicPodcast.com.
Welcome back, guys, to minute 23 of the rise of Skywalker.
These flights are getting really quick. Like they've nailed it down.
Oh yeah, don't forget to give us your receipt so we can reimburse you for all your.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Back and forward.
Right.
Minute number 20.
Do that, I would have flown.
3, only foreign travel. Sorry, not domestic travel.
All right.
Bus fare. We'll cover your bus fare. Minute number 23 starts off with C-3PO, the gang staring at C-3PO awkwardly, and it ends a minute later with Rey being harassed by Pasaana by an Aki-Aki street urchin.
Aki-Aki sounds good.
So
Sounds
yesterday's
delicious.
minute ended with it where C-3PO was lecturing everyone about how great the planet
Colorful
was.
kites and delectable sweets.
Yes. And then the minute ended, and so this minute literally ends with 10 seconds of everyone just staring at C-3PO. Like it's like a Tim and Eric sketch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great start to a minute.
It really is.
Slow burn turn to
It's
so good.
It's 3PO's turn as well. Like 3PO not realizing that they're all
timing.
staring at him. And yeah, the timing of it is perfect.
Perfect.
It's really good. A really good gag. Someone should
Like,
just do a loop of it, of just turning, pause, turning, then really extend the minute even longer.
I went back just to watch what everybody was doing in this too, and they all do it really well, and it all kind of like fits with their character. Like BB-8 doesn't turn around; he just kind of looks like at C-3PO the whole time. He like takes a second and then looks up. It's all good. It's so good.
Alex, as the person who likes this film the least, I think it's fair to say amongst the four of us, am I right in thinking that you do like C-3PO in this film? Like he's the redeeming factor.
Yes. I think this is 3PO's best showcase in all of the sequel era movies. I think he's the strong standout character. So this is his best. He's not the standout character, but this is his best.
He's definitely got the most to do in this one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's barely in.
I feel like in the prequels, C-3PO never felt right to me. I know he's different colors and whatever, but the performance seemed more of a, I don't know, like a little more prissy, like a little more high pitched sort of.
I think it's
something.
It's the problem that I have with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey when they come back and do a Wayne's World sketch now. That it's them doing
it's a parody?
Them doing like an imitation of what they used to do, as opposed to just doing what they used to do. And I think that's what C-3PO felt like to me in the prequels. Whereas now he felt like that in episode 7 as well. But something in, I think, The Last Jedi, I feel like he started getting more of a dry, like he felt more like a dry wit instead of the sort of like flustered. Like it's like I don't know. I'm not an actor. I don't know how these things work, but I definitely feel a change in 3PO in the last two films than I did since Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a weird nervousness, higher pitch thing going on in the prequels that never really felt like 3PO to me. But this one, it's like, it felt like Star Wars.
Yeah.
3PO.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think this minute it starts amazing because it might be the single most 3PO moment in the movie.
This is
being such a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Such a know-it-all, but unaware that he's being stared at for being a know-it-all. Like that, it's perfect as 3PO.
This minute in general is just one of the funnier minutes of like jokes per second sort of thing. Like there's a few in the course of this minute, and it's I like it. I think everyone has a moment to shine here.
Chewbacca.
It's
kind of a dorky. It's kind of a dorky thing.
Yeah.
That's the heads down moment. I'm guessing you're referring.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I you know what's funny is Junis as Chewbacca, I think is just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Because I never once think it's not Chewbacca.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the suit carries a lot of weight, but his
hairy.
Yeah. But his movements and the way he moves in the suit feels like Chewbacca. So whatever he did with Peter Mayhew on The Force Awakens to get that performance down really paid off, because I forget that it's a different guy in the suit. It's always, for me, it's just Chewbacca.
Yeah. He's been great. He's been really good, and he seems like he's taken that same sort of mantle that Peter Mayhew sort of took for himself, for sure, where he's like, I am Chewbacca, I'm going to represent that outside of the films as well. Like, Juno seems to have taken that from Peter Mayhew, or has at least had it handed off to him, and is so happy to be there and show up and do all of the things. I don't know if he's been announced for Celebration this year, but I hope he is there.
Yeah. Who's the of course, by the time people hear this, Celebration will they already know that we all hung out with him and partied, and it was
great.
awesome. I'm trying to, who's the guy that I always forget his name, but there's the basically the understudy C-3PO who's off in the live action.
Oh, I don't remember.
C-3PO when Anthony Daniels is unavailable or unwilling to show up, and then he's also kind of been in other things as other droids and stuff, but he's the kind of go-to.
Daniel
I can't
Anthony.
remember his name, and I'm yeah.
There's the guy who does. There's a guy who does the voice. I think it was on Lego Masters on the Star Wars episode. And the guy who did the voice for 3PO wasn't Anthony Daniels and did not like it's almost as like jarring as hearing like the new Kermit. It's just
it's me,
not
C-3PO.
right.
What do you want? What are you, Legos? I got a droid here.
He sounds like 4Q2.
Oh yeah.
What was
RD Deco? Or 4Q2.
Who's RD Deco's?
I think is the
the
Tin Man,
R2 version.
C-3PO.
I thought RD Deco was
you're
R2D2,
right. You're right.
yeah. But 4Q2,
Could go either way.
I think.
Yeah.
But
Hardware
he sounds
Wars,
like
everybody?
that guy.
Hardware Wars.
Oh, I had my Hardware Wars shirt on.
I know, wrong day.
A
Wrong
couple
shirt.
days ago. Yeah. But terrific performance. So we get into the celebration. And I was going to look this up and I didn't look it up. But this is not John Williams music, correct? For the celebration? Is this Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I was going to say,
back at
is this another Lin-Manuel Miranda joint?
Oh,
I think it might be, because they were doing I remember seeing in the documentary them
The dance.
choreographing the dance.
Yeah.
And I want to say Lin-Manuel was there. I could be wrong.
I think you might be right. He did, basically he had a thing in both the
It didn't
movies.
sound like John Williams to me.
No.
I'm looking it up in the background. Don't.
I should be the guy that knows this stuff, because I did mention I do the podcast Cue the Music, and I love film scores.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to film scores since I was a kid, and so I should know this stuff, because the first film score I ever got when I was 4 years old was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That exact copy.
Nice, there it is.
This is my copy from when I was a kid.
That's great.
Got it from Columbia House because my mom wouldn't allow me to see the movie because it was too violent. So she got me the tape. And forever shaped me into a film score nerd.
Did you ever see
Good
it?
news.
I finally saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, and it's
good.
scared
It's a good
me.
movie.
Yeah,
She was right.
Yeah. You are right. It is called Lido Hay or Lido Hay. Lido Hay. And it is written by Lin-Manuel.
Hey.
And is the dance called the Lido Shuffle?
I believe so.
Lido.
The Bosque Skags.
I remember on Twitter for a while, former guest of your show, Tony Thaxton, was obsessed with Lido Shuffle, and it made me happy for like 3 months straight. He was twinning up, listening to this again, and it made me very, very happy. I saw Boz Scaggs in concert.
Wow.
With opening for Michael McDonald.
Wow.
Right before the pandemic. Like, this is recent.
Oh, recently. Well, I was going to make a joke, like recently, but if it is, that's
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that better or worse?
That's still
I don't-
recent now? Is that still considered
Yeah,
recent?
I guess so.
Time
It's a
doesn't
completely
matter.
different era,
Like
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, we brought
It's
this
like
up
the-
yesterday. According to the Visual Dictionary, there are approximately 500,000 native Aki-Akis participating in this rave here. Only
Wow,
so it's a
5,000.
lot.
Only 5,000 off-worlders, which doesn't seem like a lot to me.
No, I mean, but you could lose 5,000 people in 500,000 very easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like we see a lot of off-worlders already in this
Maybe
brief
they-
sampling.
They've all been sort of segregated to one corner of the
they're
festival.
in like the visitor section.
Yeah,
of the-
yeah.
of the-
I
of the
wonder,
tournament.
does Pablo wrote that one?
Yes.
That book?
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if he actually went to look at the numbers
Hmm.
for Burning Man. And there were some stats
So
that said
I
how many are there and how many come from.
think I
Around
think I
Mendoza.
looked this up recently, and there's something. I think Burning Man it's similar in size to Glastonbury, the big one over here, and that is I think 250,000 like attendees, and then another like 10,000 staff and security and performers and everyone else. So, and then you've got everyone who sort of sneaks in. So it sometimes gets up to about 400,000.
I have a friend that goes to Burning Man, and the thought of it just scares me.
Yeah.
It just scares me.
According to EDM.com, 80,000 people went to Burning Man last year.
Only 80.
16
wow. Okay.
arrests and 1 death, which is a pretty good
That's
statistic
low.
for
Yeah.
80,000 people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially considering what the
Ochi died there, right?
Didn't make it out of Burning Man.
Right.
Although there's probably a different, like Darth Vader, right? He did Burning Man or Qui-Gon Jinn.
Maybe I'm afraid of Burning Man because it reminds me of the Wicker Man.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's a
that's,
bit-
I think,
yeah.
I mean, that was intentional, right?
Yeah.
Space Wicker Man.
I was stuck for a second on that.
Wicked.
We have, what do we have?
Wicked.
What did you say? 5,000
Off-worlders.
outsiders?
In the Aki Festival, yes,
In Aki, in the
500,000
festival, yes,
locals,
yes.
5,000 off-worlders, 1%.
So you're saying that we took the amount of off-worlders, then we've increased it 10,000-fold?
Oh, I like it.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't. I'm grasping it. I don't have my calculator, so I'm
I
not.
like it.
Someone
Geometry,
there
not
might be a
mine.
0 either side, like difference,
Yeah,
but
something like that.
Yeah.
So Ray seems very excited to be here. Oh my gosh, look how
Sure.
exciting this is. Finn, the wet blanket, is like,
I
there's so
love-
many wayfinders here.
love
Thanks,
the
dude, for
delivery
your-
of
for your-
this.
Yeah.
It really feels to me like this. I think they did it quite well at the beginning of this film, where it feels like the three of them are a trio for the first time. Like, and they've hung around, they've been bickering, and there's a love there between them, but like they all just bicker, and that's even like between Ray and Finn, who seem like they've got one of the tighter connections. Like here, where Ray's like, I've never seen anything like this, and without missing a beat, he's just walking past, and he's just sassy. He's just I've never seen so many wayfinders, or so few wayfinders.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's really good. An idea of him being sassy.
And it is consistent with his character. It's what, it's the same guy
Sassy
who
teen.
was, joking about, like cute boyfriend and the same guy who was, he had a moment of being like serious and worried for a while there, but also he's still always he's got that kind of, sarcastic undercurrent to him. I didn't,
Underbelly.
at first I didn't love the line, but then I realized it is consistent with him. It wouldn't work for me in real life if I was hanging out with Finn, but it is very Finn, if that makes sense.
Finn just wouldn't be someone that you hang around with in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, well, you've always
wet
seen this
blanket.
many
Yeah,
wayfinders. You've seen exactly this many wayfinders every day of your life since you were born until right now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
including.
The math in this movie is all off.
Yeah.
I need
Um,
to see
although-
It's the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
If you increase the amount of wayfinders that you're seeing right now 10,000-fold, you'll still see the same amount of wayfinders.
And-
I know that much,
And,
man.
and 16 hours on one planet, is it 16 hours everywhere else? Like, it's, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we see BB-8 look at the smoke bombs as he's passing through. Nice setup. Moment that really doesn't matter in like as far as like the audience. We're not distracted by it. It goes by quick, but it sets up later.
Yep.
Right.
Spoilers. The canisters come into play.
And we see like loads of smoke and stuff when we get the wide shot of the festival grounds. Like we see the dance. I think it's when you see the dance. You see some smoke like being flung around. I think it's a really good effect. I think it looks really nice. I've not seen RRR, but like I've seen some clips from the song that won Best Oscar and stuff. And there's loads of smoke being used in that video and stuff. It's I don't know. We don't need lasers every time. We can or flags. Like you can have smoke. It's a good practical effect.
Right.
Right. And this looks like a place I mean, if there's going to be a Star Wars celebration in the Star Wars universe, like this seems like a really fun one to go to. Everyone seems in good spirits. They have a place for the kids to go hang out and watch the puppet show. Like all of this seems totally fun. Like
how much do you think? How much do you think a drink costs at the Festival of the Ancestors?
They definitely jack the prices up.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like setting it up for a pun.
No. If I was more forward thinking, I would have. But I just you talking about it, it was like they got a place for the kids. They got everything. Thought I was like, oh yeah. And I'm like, what would I do? I drop off the kids. I grab a drink maybe, and then it's like, how much that's got to cost?
Because
way more.
You
than
see a vendor holding like a pole over their shoulder, and there's like baskets hanging from it, and out of that looks like there's maybe skewers with it must be the sweets or some kind of almost like a beaded sort of cotton candy or something. And I mean,
they're like kebabs.
I mean, yeah, I would. Like, are they in there?
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, love meat.
Yeah, are they? Do they say they're meaty or because they were like pastel colors?
Color-coded
like
flavors ranging from sweet yellow to spicy sour.
Oh, give me that spicy
like
sour.
This, like a sampler.
Yeah. Love it.
Confection
like
skewers, they are called. So
you say color-coded flavors?
Color-coded flavors. They're like jelly beans.
I know. Yeah, well,
like purple is grape.
Right.
Yeah.
Pink is
except
pink.
every once in a
Blue
while
is
it's licorice, and
raspberry.
you're like, who? What?
Like-
What kind of? Come on.
You know what makes me mad is I'm a huge fan of lime, and that went over to green apple, and that makes me mad. I'm not a fan of green apple.
Yeah.
You don't like them?
Pick a different color.
Yeah, I do think we need more color-coded flavors in. So here's my proposal so far. Let's put our eyes in our ears and let's have our flavors color-coded.
Sounds good.
It's just all makes sense.
Sodas seem to do it. Like,
I like that there's
the sweet drinks seem to do it more. So why not the rest of food?
Let's involve our eyes more in the. All of these, I guess, here's a bunch of suggestions for eyes. Let's put them in our ears. Let's involve them more in the eating process.
I don't know about eating sweets in the desert though.
Why?
Depends on the sweet.
I don't. Yeah,
They are delectable.
You'd rather have something salty in the desert? That seems.
I don't
seems
know.
The opposite
I don't
of what
know.
You want.
Yeah, you don't want ice
thinking of
cream
being
because as
like
soon as
out-
like a wind blows, you're just gonna get ice cream in there.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just gonna.
They have space ice cream that.
Yeah, they glow.
All right, like
Does it
freeze dried little, like the Dippin' Dots or something like
Astronaut
that.
ice cream. Yeah.
Oh, ice cream of the future. Oh, astronaut ice cream.
Yeah.
So
Getting
we see
started.
you mentioned that they have a little puppet show going on for the little gelflings there. And then like Rey is looking at them and she gets like a wistful how are we supposed to interpret Rey's wistful gaze at the young? Is she trying to resist the urge to kill them because she's a Palpatine?
Wow. I mean, it's either that or
I
she's
think
starting to get
she's-
broody.
I think she's seeing children who are having a happy childhood.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Not all
and
deserts are
something
pleasurable.
she didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I never got to sit and watch puppets.
So she's wistful
But is
for
it
her
the
own
puppet
lack of
show?
a childhood, not like, oh, I want to have
Yeah,
children so
she's-
that they can encounter a puppet show.
No,
Right.
I think it's
No.
Okay.
she's happy for them. And the puppet
She
show
could also be scouting them to see like is that more of like a first order batch of children or Jedi batch of
Yeah,
children?
they're going to be
or what?
harvested or like,
Yeah. Who's going to harvest these guys? Where would they fit in best?
yeah. But
the
the
new normal.
puppet show has like a little guy. It's a little dude throwing what looks like a basketball into a flaming bucket or something. I don't really know
It's
what that
NBA
is.
Jam.
I'm
He's
sure it's been.
like,
Yeah. There you
Is
go.
it? He's heating up.
yeah.
NBA
Yeah.
Jam.
Mm.
He must be butter because he's on a roll. I Did you guys think that this puppet show was going to be the Broom Boy Luke legend when you first saw it? Like, do you no?
I thought it was going to be
hadn't
some
thought of that,
Star
but I
Wars.
like
I thought
the
it was,
idea almost.
yeah, I thought it was going to be some variation of C-3PO telling the story of Star Wars in Return of the Jedi, where like it was going to be some reflecting on something that either nerds would be like, no, that's Cad Bane, who's going to become the new guy, who's going to, or something more obvious that like, oh, it's Darth Vader fighting Luke in the at the end of Return of the Jedi or something. So
Have you seen the Matthew McConaughey Christian Bale movie?
Jumper?
I can't remember the name now. Fire. No.
Rain of Fire. Rain of Fire.
It's Rain of
Rain
Fire.
of Fire
yeah.
when they're telling stories
In that
telling
movie.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, they put the kids put on plays, or the adults put on plays for the kids, and like Star Wars was a vague recollection of the 4 times before the dragons took over the Earth, and it's them doing Star Wars on stage, and it's the climax of Empire Strikes Back with a guy with broomsticks and stuff. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, I was wondering if that's where you got that idea of them showing Star Wars to the kids. Because of Rain of Fire. If you haven't seen Rain of Fire, it's a cool movie. It's fun.
I don't think I've seen
helicopters
it
versus dragons.
Yeah, helicopters and tanks, and Matthew McConaughey is this wild military commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminded me. I have to look up. I don't know if I'm going to do it. If I'm going to be able to successfully find it right on here. But remember, for a while there was a. Remember, everybody was talking about it. There was this weird off-Broadway play for a little while where it was basically like post-apocalypse, and like the only one of the few things that survived was like this like retelling of a Simpsons episode.
Oh,
Steamed
no,
hands.
I'm not aware of this.
I am far too
Post-apocalyptic
off Broadway
Simpsons
to know about that.
Oh, here we go. It was Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. And it was a story of a group of survivors of the apocalypse recalling and retelling Cape Fear, the episode of the TV show The Simpsons, after a global catastrophe. Examines the way the story has changed 7 years after that, and finally 75 years later. So it does like time jumps where it sees how this becomes kind of lore and becomes kind of part of the...
wow,
That's great. I want to see that.
It was
authorized.
Yeah, premiered in D.C., then ran at Playwrights Horizons in New York City. Was produced at the Almeida Theatre in London, so no excuse for you.
Oh,
You
man.
got a bit of a trek, but in 2014, and Adelaide and Sydney, Australia in 2017. But I don't think it's been seen since then. Maybe.
Oh, that's a shame. Sounds good.
But
I'd like to see
anybody who did see that, let me know.
it.
Right. And in the meantime, watch Rain of Fire. Just that one part.
They
Maybe
originally
not bad.
considered Friends, Cheers, and MASH, but then settled on The Simpsons. So,
Mash.
MASH.
yeah, all of those would have been interesting.
Yeah, they should just do different versions of it.
Oh yeah, and it was like you don't know which
Yeah,
one you're,
yeah. So
you're
Star
gonna
Tours,
get when you
Star
go
Tours
that night.
situation.
What the thing is
Yeah.
going to be? Yeah, Star Tours, or what was the what was that with the show in Boston that you go see, and it's a murder mystery, and the audience votes, and then whoever wins the vote is actually you're right because they change it. I don't know.
Tony and Tina's wedding.
This is me turning into like here's plays I vaguely recall. It's my new podcast.
Great podcast.
Stage shows.
And I only know about plays that show up in movies.
There you go.
Or movies that show up in movies. As
Right.
plays.
Play is based on movies that show up in movies.
Right.
Anyway, speaking of movies, we're talking about one. Did you guys does anybody have anything else to specific to this minute?
Not to this
do
minute,
not.
no.
Otherwise, I think we had some general questions here. You guys,
General
where did you each individually see this, and what was your first reaction?
Ralph, do you remember yours?
Yeah, I saw it in Brea, California at the Edwards Theater. My wife Stevie got us some recliner seats, which I'm still not totally on board for. I'm a big guy. Like I'm like 6 foot. So usually when those seats that you can kind of push back, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's 5'3", and so she can't get the leverage to push the seat back. So we get the recliners, and there's leather, And when I was watching this movie, I was getting super excited because there was so much Star Wars being just jammed into my eyes and my ears, which would have been convenient if they're in the same place.
Much more efficient.
But like, I get like, I like get warm in those seats because I feel like I'm just like, and also like the threat of 3PO dying is on my mind the whole time. And like, who's going to die? Like, just nobody die. And so I'm anxious for the characters. So I watched it, and by the time the movie ends, my brain was complete mush. And I'm like, I love that. I said, I love that movie. And I don't even care about the kiss. As stupid as the kiss is, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, because when the kiss happened, there was like 5 people in the audience that literally full housed, like wooed during the kiss. And I was like, wow, this was an experience. And so I had a blast. It was a fun night, and I was reclined while watching it, which was just it's so weird. It's such a weird concept, but you want to adjust your seat, but it like the leather on leather squeaks, and so you're like, okay, I got to find the position and just stay there.
Yeah.
Like they've made the motors quiet enough, but still, you do feel a little bit like.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever get
How
to
far away? You're gonna say the same thing.
No, I'm not.
What are you gonna say?
Mine was gonna say, do you think we'll ever get
Say
to
it
a
at the same
point
time.
where? Yeah, well, okay, let's say it at the same time. See if we.
You guys are known for being in sync, saying things at the
Always.
exact same
Yeah,
time.
that's what we do best.
Will we ever get to the point where we are reclining totally on our backs and the projection is on the ceiling?
I was close. I was going to say, how far away are we from just there being couches in the theater instead of recliners?
I've been to one.
They used to have couches in
Oh, really?
theaters. Yeah,
There's
they
some
had one in
theaters
LA
here.
at the
Yeah, the
old
Prince
silent movie theater
the
had
Prince
them.
Charles Theatre in Leicester Square in London, where they do a lot of.
Did they change their name?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, is it the King
I
Charles?
don't-
It's still Prince Charles Theater?
Yeah, I think that was
Come on.
previous Prince
Get
Charles.
with the times.
Give it to a new prince.
The
The artist formerly known
yeah,
as
the
Prince
artist
Charles
formerly known
Theatre.
as
There
Prince
you go.
Charles. It's
Yeah.
a really cool
Is
little
it next to the
independent cinema, and it was kind of doing what the Alamo used to do, or still does, but before the Alamo, I
Yellow
think.
people.
Yeah. And be really racist and patriotic. Same thing, right? They had like their back 2 rows are big, like 2-seater sofas. I was
Make-out
sat in
couches.
I was sat in one of those once, sharing the sofa seat with Kevin Smith's wife, which was really odd. It was a Q&A that he was doing there, when he used to do his Q&As all the time. And then like Jen Schwalbach just
I
sort of
thought you just went to the movies with Kevin Smith's wife.
no, we went on a lovely time. It was great. No, she sort of snuck in, and like at the end, like we were sat in the back row, and she just came in. That was the only available seat, so she just sort of sat down there. I was like, oh, hi.
And then he came back and
We share a
threatened you.
birthday.
What are you doing on this couch
Yeah.
with my wife? Yeah, just
I have some cues.
you're like, I'll ask the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a cool little theatre. I think if I remember rightly, that way back in the day it used to be a porn theatre. So it does make you question the sofa seats in the back
Yeah.
there. I was like,
When did they renew these?
have they at least changed the covers? Because it's not great.
But Alex, I think you might be onto something with just lying down and having it on the ceiling. Although
I don't know.
You don't have I don't know. Can you do like, is that efficient kind of, well, you could have
The
different
surround
layers,
sound.
I guess.
Maybe
You have different
be
layers.
it would be weird. I saw this.
Well,
I saw
everyone's a layer, I guess, if you're but I mean different, like, you could just kind of stack a little bit. You could have like, people slightly over you, but not, you can overlap the bed areas a little bit as long as you're not blocking the faces. So you could have kind of a 2 tiers. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing how it works out.
It's like a
I've been
human
to the dentist
lasagna
a
in
few
the cinema.
times.
Human lasagna.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Delicious.
I saw
hate
this
porn
in the
You saw it in an old porn theater on a
no, I
couch.
didn't see that there. I saw
Kevin
this
Smith's wife.
in Southampton in the Showcase Cinema, which has the nice big recliners and everything. It's a really nice theater, like the big Dolby Atmos screens and sound and everything. It's a really nice theater, but it's the same thing. Reclining seats, I'm the same. I always have to sort of find it before the film starts. I find where I'm at, and I can't go full recline. Like, I'll put the feet up and I'll put the seat back a bit, but if I go full recline, no matter how much I'm enjoying that movie, I'm going to sleep. It's happened to me.
Your neck's gonna.
It's not even the neck. It's just I get too comfy, and it's happened in films that I'm really, really enjoying. I'll just nod off for. It might only be like 5 seconds, 10 seconds at a time, but like I will feel myself go, and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm back. But I knew that with this I couldn't, so I was probably more upright than normal.
I'm super grateful that assigned seating has now sort of become normalized. As much as I love standing in line for Star Wars, I think I had to stand in line for Force Awakens, and that was the last one.
I don't think I've
Star Wars I had to stand in line for.
I don't think I've ever had to stand in line.
Because there's an anxiety. There's an anxiety,
totally.
and I'm glad that's gone. I really am.
Absolutely.
Because
as much as some of wonderful minutes. Look, I'm just in podcast mode. Wonderful moments, wonderful times from my life were spent, waiting online for movies and stuff like that. Still, I'm glad it's gone, and I don't.
Yeah.
It does amaze me because like British people love to stand in a line. I've stood in a line for like half an hour before, and then the guy behind me who joined not long after me then asked what we were in line for. He had no idea. He saw the line and he joined it. That's happened to me on multiple occasions. But we've always had assigned seating, so we've never really had to do, well, down here at least, we've always been able to just get to where we're going to go.
So former guest of the show, Patrick Kottner, he was on our show, he's on your show, does an improv thing on Sunday nights in Los Angeles, and he had a big lineup, like a good lineup. Michael Giacchino was doing the monologue, and a bunch of amazing improvisers, and I'm standing in line towards the front, and there's a line that kind of goes around the building. As I'm standing there, I look over, like, just to kind of look at the faces of the people who are going to see the show, and one of them catches my eye, and it was Bobby Moynihan, who was performing in that show. And I got his attention because I'm working with him on a film, and he catches my eye, and I waved at him, and he got out of line and came over. I'm like, Bobby, you're performing tonight, right? He's like, yeah. I said, what are you doing in line? Come on. I have no affiliation with this show or the theater, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure Bobby doesn't have to wait in line with the people who are watching the show he's in. And that made me laugh. I love Bobby. Bobby's great.
Did you then kind of coattail him and be like, as you're delivering him to the show, to the backstage, then you just get to be in?
I kind of wanted to, and I felt bad because I had sort of cut in line with friends who were already there, and I didn't want to be in the back of the line because there were some real a-holes that came in at the same time we did into the parking structure, and we would have to stand next to him, so I jumped ahead. But then also, like, I saw Carlton Cuse walking around from Lost, and I let him in, and the people behind me are like, dude, are you letting all these people in? I'm like, no, they're good. But I probably could have gone in, but I didn't. I still stayed in line. But being in line's fun.
Depends on the line. It depends on the line. I just started
letting people in. Yeah, if you got like Bobby Moynihan and Carlton Cuse.
Yeah, that's a fun line.
That's a fun line.
Yeah.
If you have people who can't park and pull up right next to you where you can't open your door and stare at you as you try to get out of your car. Those people were awful. I was so angry.
He doesn't remember this, but I met Ralph in line at San Diego Comic-Con, like 2009. Yeah, so, lines can lead to podcasts.
Exactly. All kinds of things.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, I have nothing left.
And so you guys remember, Ralph, you clearly said you enjoyed it the first time. James, did you like it the first time? How many times did you guys wind up seeing it?
2. I saw all of the sequel, all the sequel movies I saw twice in the theater. I did like the opening night one, and then one a week or two later, like normally on my own, just so that I could just sort of take it all in and just really sort of nail down what I thought of it. This one, opening night, people seem to be mostly into it throughout most of the movie, and then I mean, I welled up at least twice. There was the moment with Han and Ben later on. That gets me even to this day every time I see it. And then the score coming in when Lando drops in, and the more of us moment. It's total emotional manipulation, and I'm here for it. I love it. And I was the
I can be aware of it and still be affected by it at the same time.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
okay.
I yelped when Wedge had his half a second. I was the only person in the theater who did. But yeah, like Ralph, there was a few woos for the kiss later on.
Yeah, I've seen all the Disney era movies twice, with the exception of 2. Last Jedi I saw once, and Solo I saw 3 times.
I feel like I don't know if this is purely anecdotal, but I feel like the era of going to see a movie like 10 times is not a thing anymore. Maybe because the time between a movie being released in the theaters and then coming out for home release is so short that there's less incentive to be like, this could be the last time I see this movie for 2 years. You know what I mean? Now you're like, it'll be on streaming.
I just don't have time to. I barely get to see a movie in theaters these days at all because of time.
Yeah, 99 I saw Phantom Menace 9 times.
9
times. Summer. Yeah. Because the thought of being able to just get up and go see a Star Wars, like,
yeah.
Like, I can do that right now, even though I don't really care for it.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I definitely did it more when I was single as well, because I could just be like, I'm going to go see a movie. If anyone wants to come with me, cool. But if not, I'm going to go see a movie.
If Kevin Smith's wife's available, come hang out on the couch with me. But
call her up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just because we're all old people. Sorry, I don't mean to lump you guys in with me being old, but we're all old people now, and teenagers are still going to the movies multiple times. But
they're just doing it for memes and stuff, though, and their TikToks, I'm sure. Like, they're putting on suits to go see.
It's spoiling post-credit scenes and doing that stuff.
Well, I guess that'll wrap up minute number 2-3 of The Rise of Skywalker. And you know what? We have been talking a lot, and we want to hear from you, dear listeners. We want you to call our telephone number, 8-Day-Greedo, and you can call. What do you think of the big kiss scene that's coming up? Did you woo? Did you go, whoa? Or did you, what was your reaction?
The Phantom of the Park?
What was your reaction to seeing Wedge for a half a second? Did you woo? Did you cheer? Did you go, who is that old man? And some nerd had to explain it to you. Give us a call, 8-Day-Greedo. Make it short and concise and hopefully entertaining. And maybe you could be on the show, or a recording of you anyway. And maybe we'll use it on the next Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.